Hello and welcome to round 14 of Grand Prix Providence. I'm Brian David Marshall. I am joined by Pro Tour Hall of Famer and Pro Tour champion and former Rookie of the Year, Randy Buehler. And we are watching Brian Braun-Duin and Patrick Dickman here. 2 rounds to go in the Swiss, and these guys basically need to win, maybe win-win, maybe win handshake, but the first step in either plan is win this round.
Definitely. Yeah, but Sky Mason and Oliver Tew believe they can make the top 8 at 12-2-1. They just took a draw to go to 12-1-1. You know, maybe they get another draw in the last round, but there's so many 33s. The 33s go down to 18th place, and then there's 31, 31, 31 below that can also get to X21, though, with mediocre breakers. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much drawing in the last round. I think these guys are going to all have to play for it, so...
Well, we've already seen a bunch of action here. A pair of Rakshasa Death Dealers from the Abzan aggro deck that's being played by Brian Braun-Duin. And a pair of Lightning Strikes from Patrick Dickman, who is stuck for his 3rd mana here. Doesn't have a 3rd land, but did have 2 Lightning Strikes to take the creatures down. And Brian Braun-Duin says, well, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity to draw a couple extra cards with Abzan Charm. And now Patrick Dickman, still without a 3rd land, plays a face-up Stratus Dancer. Decides that turn should be a welcome turn.
Oh, God. Wow, that is simultaneously awful, terrible, and pretty spectacular.
That's what I strive for. So, ultimate price on the Stratus Dancer with a Fleecemane Lion threatening to go large next turn. And Valor Stance saves the Stratus Dancer.
I think Patrick just looking for things that he can do to advance his position with the 2 lands. If he didn't have anything else he could do for 2 mana, that's a perfectly good use of a Valor Stance. Yeah, Fleecemane Lion going monsters, though. Definitely not good news for Team Dickman.
And this looks like... There, oh my gosh, Anafenza the Foremost. He's got a Hero's Downfall in reserve.
Shields down for Anafenza, though? You don't go monsters on Fleecemane there?
Hero's Downfall, attack for 3. He just wants to advance his board while he can, right?
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just an interesting fork in the road.
Does Patrick Dickman have a 3rd land? And even if he does, can he get out from under this? He does. It's a Flooded Strand.
I guess BBD knows that there was no Lightning Strike last turn, or he wouldn't have got to untap with that Fleecemane.
Right.
So no need to monsters in a hurry. It's not like there's a 3-mana removal spell in that deck.
Right. So 2nd main phase, Goblin Rabblemaster. I'm assuming there will be a Goblin token there. Ultimate price takes down the Goblin. Get in for 8. Yeah, nothing he can do.
Can't do anything about that.
Patrick stumbles here as we're approaching the finish line. And Brian Braun-Duin just does what his deck does, just punish. I mean, this deck is designed to punish people trying to get too cute.
That's exactly right.
People who are stumbling on developing their board. There we see Josh Ravitz on our back table playing against Ralph Batash. Again, these guys feel like they have to at least win.
They have to win-win.
But probably have to win-win, yeah.
If anybody gets in on X2-1, it's going to be the guys who drew on table 1 this round.
Right. Saw a crazy match for Josh Ravitz last round.
Yeah?
Walk over. It's towards the end of game 1. He's playing his opponent, Mark Jacobson.
Okay.
And Mark looks like a red deck. There's multiple Monastery Swift Spears in play. There's Goblin Rabblemaster and some tokens in play. And he just looks like a red beatdown deck.
Okay.
And game 2, Josh reaches for his sideboard. Goes and gets all the Drowning Sorrows.
Sure.
All the Arishan Clerics.
Sure.
You know, brings that all in, takes out his Thought Seizes and whatnots, and No, his opponent's playing Mardu. And so, has like Elspeths and, other big, beefy things. And it's just
Crazy.
this really awkward game that Josh somehow ends up winning despite, multiple outpost sieges resolving.
Oh, wow.
Ends up winning and then, goes back to form for game 3 and manages to stay alive. But it was pretty harrowing. Wow, we're seeing a Johnny Mentor of Heroes. Which finds a Siege Rhino. And then a Scry after that. And Heroes Downfall is going to take down the Johnny Mentor of Heroes. Well, what does Ralph have? He has, of course, a Siege Rhino. Josh plays his own Siege Rhino. Which comes with a Satyr Wayfinder to squire him in battle so he can actually trade with the Siege Rhino should Ralph Batesh decide he wants to attack for some reason.
I like that analogy. So you're saying it's the Wayfinder that's going to scare off that Rhino and prevent it from attacking?
Yeah. Absolutely. Fanning through his graveyard, thinking about den protectors to come. Nope, not scaring anything off here. Siege Rhino comes in. Down comes a Wingmate Rock.
Josh smelled a removal spell and didn't want to go for the double block. But it was Wingmate Rock Raid that was Ralph's primary goal. Interesting. Wonder if did he also have removal spells? Or he out of cards now? He's out of cards,
Looks
right?
like he's out of cards, yeah.
So yeah, Josh put him on having a removal spell as his last card. Could have double blocked and killed Siege Rhino.
But Josh is holding Crux of Fate here. He's also holding Elspeth. Yeah, he's just going to Crux. And now...
So his opponent is empty.
Oh, no. He had one card.
Okay, so he may have also had the removal spell.
Plays a land. Here comes Elspeth. I think it's reasonable that he just wanted the raid trigger there.
Yeah, throw away Siege Rhino for raid trigger, maybe. I mean, the more interesting question
it's also
is
pretty good. I mean, you also have that. Your opponent's got to be thinking about the.
Oh, Ralph
spell.
Batesh knows that he's representing a removal spell, and that Josh is not gonna snap block.
So Elspeth takes care of Siege Rhino.
Mm-hmm. And Josh may figure he's so far ahead that it doesn't matter. I don't know. I mean, certainly he declined to block, got punished about as much as he possibly could, and still seems to be ahead.
Yeah. Well, he knew he had the Crux.
And he knew he had the Elspeth.
Yeah.
Those are good cards, I guess.
Josh plays a Death Mist Raptor.
Face down. I don't think I see any raptors in his yard.
He plays another creature.
Oh, wow.
Face down. Okay. So we'll keep you updated on this match. We're going to go back to our main match between Brian Braun-Duin and Patrick Dickman. And they're underway here. Patrick has 2 lands, but no play. Also no white mana as of turn 2. His turn 2 play is generally going to be
Soulfire Grandmaster.
Soulfire Grandmaster. Although the deck will often put a Stratus Dancer into play.
Often.
When I was talking to Brad about it, he said often against some of the control decks, they'll just get that out there and start,
sure.
away.
Against Obs on aggro, though?
No, not against Obs on aggro.
Not even sure they're in the deck after sideboarding against Obs on aggro.
So here comes Goblin Rabblemaster in with a token.
How slow is BBD's start? No 2-drop is less than ideal. I think he's got
It looks like he has a couple of
Heath for
Drowning
Inoffensive.
Sorrows. At least one Drowning Sorrow in hand.
So he can drown away the Rabblemaster, or he can play Inoffensive.
Yep.
Goes for the drown.
Scries it away, whatever it was. Both these players pretty pokey draws here.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at what Patrick might be doing after sideboard. Well, we've seen repeatedly after sideboard the Jeskai deck going for Mastery of the Unseen out of sideboard. I don't know that you would do that against the Obzon aggro deck though.
It doesn't sound right.
Probably Anger of the Gods. So he might, they might both have like these kind of situational sweeper cards. Drowning Sorrows out of his deck, Anger of the Gods out of his deck. So Siege Rhino from Brian Brunduin. Looks like a Soulfire Grandmaster is getting lined up here.
Yeah, Patrick may have just been stuck on white the whole time. His 4th turn consisted of putting a white mana into play tapped. Not the most exciting 4th turn in the history of this deck. It'd be particularly painful if he had an Ojutai summon that otherwise could have stopped Siege Rhino. I don't know that he does, but I mean that's often the 4-drop, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Ojutai Command, one of the big reasons that they like this deck. Especially Ojutai commanding back a Soulfire Grandmaster.
Sure.
So ultimate price. It's going to take out the Grandmaster, and there is a Fleece Main Lion.
Creatures just seem bigger than anything Jeskai is going to bring to the
Yes,
table.
and there's a pair of Wingmate Rocks coming next turn. Or should say a pair of 3/4 flyers. Wingmate and Wannabe Rock. Here's another Soulfire Grandmaster. Gain 3 life as I Lightning Strike your Fleece Main Lion. And a 6th land for Diku.
He's at the point where he can start potentially buying back spells with the Grandmaster.
Yeah, I mean he's 1 mana away from being able to stoke the flames with buyback every turn.
Oh, sure, since the Soulfire can convoke.
Yes, but self-inflicted wound. Ugh, disgust. Flings his Soulfire Grandmaster into the graveyard. Self-inflicted wound is tremendous this
It's
weekend.
very good. And a Death Dealer.
Yeah. I guess if I was playing an Obzon deck, I think I would probably take the aggro route. I love the way the draws line up for it. I like the fact that you're able to go, I'm going to play a removal spell and still have this really difficult to deal with threat in Rakshasa Death Dealer or Fleece Main Lion.
Wow.
And do that on turn 4 or turn 5.
It's a very disappointed Patrick Dickman.
Yeah.
Just scoops up his cards. Brian Braun to win. Playing a win and in next round. Patrick Dickman playing a 2 pro point anti-match next round.
Yeah, which is not to be sneezed at this
Oh, no.
point.
No, he wants those 2 pro points for sure. He really wanted the top 8, but I don't know. Gets 2 pro points, and he sort of, I don't know if that's a successful weekend, but it certainly can string together with a couple more from another GP and get him to the gold status he's eager to reclaim.
Okay, and you know, the standard format goes up on and on here as we switch back to Ravitz and Batash, Megamorph versus Aggro, and in comes Anafenza the Foremost, and it gets chumped by a Satyr Wayfinder, never to return.
Josh did win that first game.
Okay, he is up 1. And there it is, Fleecemane Lion, a Pro Tour champion card. Courser of Crufix. Reveals Death Mist Raptor on top. And is Josh going to leave that there? Nope, he's going to push it to the bottom. Now an attack for 8. Drops Rabbits to 13 here. And a Death Dealer. Rip full of cards for Josh Rabbits. He is able to play a Den Protector to get back Crux of Fate this, you know, between now and his next turn.
It definitely feels like a game where he needs a Crux or sweeper of some kind. That said, Fleecemane can go monstrous. Death Dealer can regenerate.
Right, and that would be a 5/5 or 6/6.
Yeah.
Indestructible.
Josh also has Elspeth queued up.
I think he's got 2 Elspeths queued up here. So he can also keep that Fleecemane tied up for a while once the dust settles.
He's sure.
Okay. Here we go. Attack with everybody. Puts a counter on the Death Dealer.
Makes sense. Now he's not obliged to spend mana should Courser block it. I mean, Josh could double block Anafenza. Can also, I mean, Courser has a pretty easy block on Death Dealer. If Ralph pumps to kill the Courser, then he won't be going monstrous on Fleecemane, and therefore Den Protectoring back the Crux gets pretty good value. It's a tricky spot for Josh. I mean, Elspeth is set up. Like, if Ralph opens himself up to Crux, Josh can do it, but I feel like this probably turns into an Elspeth game next. Oh, that's interesting. Morph in front of the Death Dealer. Not Courser. What does that accomplish? Josh is going to flip, and then Ralph is going to have to, I guess, again, he has to either spend mana. Then he has to spend mana or lose his Death Dealer. So that's not bad.
I mean, he may want him to just activate his Death Dealer so he can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in which case, maybe you put the Courser in front, or you put.
Well, if you put the
in front?
Courser in front, then Ralph can decline and just say it's a bounce. If you put the Morph and flip it because it's a Den Protector, then Ralph has to either spend mana or lose his Death Dealer. That looks like where Josh is going to land. Right now, Ralph doesn't have to do anything. He should just pass. He's got a 3/3 being blocked by a 2/2. But this is Den Protector. Okay, now Josh is forced to commit before he sees how Ralph spends his mana, but now he's got a Crux in his hand. And Ralph either loses the Death Dealer in a trade to this Den Protector, or
takes 9
spends
here.
mana. Yeah, he decides he wants Monstrous Fleecemane Lion. He's okay with losing this Death Dealer, which I think plays into Josh's Elspeth plan reasonably well. I mean, I think Ralph's right. I think Monstrous on Fleecemane is more valuable there than saving the Death Dealer. I mean, I'm not sure either player did anything wrong.
Yeah. He gets to attack for 2 here, too, with his Courser.
Sure.
Make 3 tokens.
Right. Now, Ralph needs to answer Elspeth, who's threatening to just take this game over. But we know Josh has another one in his hand. Yeah, turn him sideways.
The world's largest Fleecemane Lion.
Do what you can do. Still gets blocked by a soldier token.
Okay. And now a Wingmate Rock.
Aha. That lines up quite well against Elspeth.
And that is going to draw.
It's going to trigger the Crux, I would think.
Yes, agreed. Josh gains a little bit of life back with his Courser.
His soldier in the Courser could attack.
He's like, I
there's
could
no
value
point.
attack, but
There's no point. Crux kills everything except the indestructible Fleecemane. And Elspeth is wise enough to put the soldiers into play after the Crux. That Fleecemane's still not getting through. We've seen this Abzan aggro deck doing pretty well, punishing people for bad starts, but then we've seen it run into the slower Abzan decks. It does not look good against any of the other Abzan decks.
isn't that sort of a story of time? You know, the all-time history of Magic, right? You know, the aggro red deck versus then the mid-range red deck.
Yes, exactly.
Which is weird to compare Abzan decks and red decks, but and then just monstrous Fleecemane Lion just hits the battlefield.
Monstrous Fleecemane has a 7-drop. It's like, okay, now you're eating 2 soldiers a turn. Josh is still turning a profit.
Still netting a soldier.
It means that Josh isn't going to be able to just ultimate him next turn and kill him, but then again, maybe he will. Yeah, Elspeth's ultimate just looks pretty lethal.
Here comes Anafenza.
I mean, Josh might not go for it out of fear of a removal spell on the Siege Rhino and a crackback, but yeah, Rhino can block the 4/4 Fleecemane. 1 soldier chumps. And I mean, Josh on board has the ability to go for, this is a lethal attack, right? Yeah, he's going to go for it.
I mean, even if it goes bad, he's got another Elspeth in hand
Oh, that's a good point.
to make 3 more tokens.
Yeah, so you totally go for it. I forgot about the second Elspeth. Ralph does have the removal spell, so he's only going to take 12. And in theory, Ralph's like, hey, he went for it. Look how many creatures I have that can attack you, suddenly defenseless. Not so defenseless, is he?
Plays
Courser. And Elspeth. Yeah, not so defenseless.
It's a pretty big Courser, too.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a hand here from... Yeah, he's going to send everybody in.
Okay.
There is the hand.
Josh Ravitz.
Alive going into the last round here at Grand Prix Providence.
Yeah, those win-and-ins next round. Not only are they win-and-ins for top 8, they're also PTQ finals.
Well, you don't want to face Josh Ravitz in a PTQ's finals. I'll tell you that.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, you do not.
All right. Continuing our tour through the 33-point players that are trying to win into this top 8, we find Steve Rubin.
And Steve Rubin gets his elf blit.
Blit?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to come up with a past term for bile blight. Blit up.
It's not bad. Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I regretted it instantly. There's a Death Mist Raptor that's going to have to tangle with a Siege Rhino from Andrew Tenjum. Another Death Mist Raptor. There's that pesky Fleece Mane Lion we've been seeing. There's a Draconic Roar. I believe he revealed a dragon there. Looks like he revealed a Thunderbreak. One Death Mist Raptor gets in. Another Courser of Crufix with a third Courser of Crufix on top of his library. Two Death Mist Raptors attack. Here's a Thunderbreak Regent. Gain 3, Orph my Courser, and then give it right back to Hero's Downfall, your Thunderbreak Regent.
Steve Rubin's deck's pretty interesting. I mean, it's red-green aggro, red-green dragons, whatever you want to call it, but it's like red-green megamorph aggro dragons with the 4 Death Mists, 2 Den Protectors. He's got Rabble Masters. Basically a green-red dragons variant.
Yeah, kills off a Courser of Crufix with a Goblin token and a Draconic Roar.
Just haven't really seen a lot of green-red dragons with Death Mists and Den Protectors.
I mean, they're just so good.
I know. It's just like Standard has all these packages, all these 8-card packages, 10, 12-card packages that you can mix and match.
So Goblin attacks, Siege Rhino gets in the way. And what dragon? Nope, no dragon, just a morph. It was a Death Mist Raptor. Looks like it fell to a Murderous Cut.
Yep.
And
oh, Bile Blight.
Bile Blight. Oh my gosh.
That can't be good for Steve Rubin.
Does he have a 7th? He doesn't have a 7th mana. I believe he's holding Dragon Lord Tarka.
Oh, jeez. Is he? Wait,
No,
he doesn't play a Tarka.
Well, unless he plays it. No. Not sure what.
Well, Rattleclaw Mystic
I guess it was just
good enough. Rattleclaw Mystic gets back multiple Death Mist Raptors.
Yeah.
And makes the mana to let him Thunderbreak Regent. That was a turn. Rattleclaw, flip it for 3 Death Mists and use the mana for Thunderbreak?
And play a morph.
No, that's a face-down Death Mist Raptor.
Oh, that's a face. He returned one face down. Okay. Yeah, and Steve Rubin rules the air here. And has the ground kind of locked down.
Wow. And Andrew Tenjum has to play defense. Crazy. 3 free 3/3 Death Touchers. Amazing. Can he attack?
Second Goblin Rabble Master.
Crazy. Remember, it was last turn where Andrew Tenjum seemed to have this all wrapped up. Cut, Den Protector, Bile Blight.
Lines up his blocks.
Yeah, he gets to pick off a couple goblins. And Den Protector's going to trade with Rabble Master. Thunderbreak gets in for 4. Andrew draws Thoughtseize and has to just ship the turn back. Wow, these Death Mist Raptors have just...
And they can start going on the attack here.
Yeah. I mean, Death Mist Raptors has just given Steve Rubin this mid-game resiliency that the Green Red Dragons deck isn't really supposed to have. I mean, Andrew's like...
He attacks with everybody.
He's scripted some blocks for Andrew. Andrew seems to agree with them. Yep, that's the most damage I can soak up, and I guess I die, don't I? That's what I thought, says Steve Rubin. Wow. I did not think Steve Rubin was winning that game. That was impressive.
So Steve goes to his sideboard for 3 cards.
Okay.
What do we think he's bringing in here? I mean, some interesting cards, by the way. It's Steve Rubin's sideboard. I just want to talk some of the cards in his sideboard. Barrage of Boulders.
Mob Rule.
And Mob Rule, yes. And Seismic Rupture.
Nice.
I'm assuming the 2 roasts came right in, but there was a 3rd card. I'm hoping it's a Mob Rule. There's a roast on a Courser of Krufix. He also has 2 roasts main. So Thunderbreak Regent falls to ultimate price. Here comes a Morph. It was a Rattleclaw Mystic. So he has even more morphs than all the morph packages.
Right. Yeah, Rattleclaw gives you the extras.
So Draconic Roar.
Kills a Den Protector. And
in comes Stormbreath Dragon. Oh, by the way, more dragons coming back.
End Hostility sweeps the board. Xenagos, not a bad follow-up after an End Hostilities.
Yeah, Xenagos, a main deck card for him. It gets Hero's Downfall.
Andrew's got to run out of removal spells at some point, right? It's not like he's drawing any extra cards. He didn't even get to flip his Den Protector, right? It died face down?
I'm not sure.
Okay, now he's drawn a couple extra, but used an Abzan Charm.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a Stormbreath Dragon come back from the Great Beyond here. Oh, it looks like...
Clearly that game ended. We don't know. We were watching Game 2, and it just... We didn't get to see who won.
Oh, Steve won the match there. Okay.
So Steve won that game.
Yes. And so these guys are not sideboarding. They're just...
Yeah, I was like, if they're sideboarding for Game 3, that means Andrew must have won the game.
They're just doing the polite post-mortem. Yeah, you probably would have won if that had happened. You know. Oh, yeah. Oh, better luck next time. Oh, where are you going next? Etc.
Wow, so Steve Rubin. Can't really get a camera to the back match,
okay, so it sounds like we have used up all of our on-camera magic. And those guys are in the middle of a game on the other table. We don't have a camera there, and we can't move them in the middle of a game. So we are